Want to know what your dog is thinking?
Have a challenging dog behavior you need help with?
The Dish on Dogs is your source for all your canine questions.
Improve your relationship with your dog and deepen your understanding of your furry friend. Right here on the Dish on Dogs. Welcome everybody, welcome to the Dish on Dogs. I'm your host Mike Gould, Mayor of Hounds Town, USA, home to the happiest dogs on earth. I have a very special show today. The last couple episodes we talked about the business of franchising and so forth, not so much about dog behavior. I promise we're going to get back to the dog behavior aspect, but we're going to follow up the last several shows with a very special guest, Marianne Desh, who is probably the old, what would you call it?
Why do you have to keep saying
that? Not old, let's have you say the OG of Hounds Town. And I'm going to let her explain everything, but just to give some background, Marianne was one of the first operations manager here. So back in 2007, she came to help, is that right? 2006, she came on board. She worked in the corporate world, she'll explain that. And I was struggling because I don't really know much about anything regarding marketing or operations and QuickBooks and billing. I didn't know anything. As always, as is to this day, I got the dog aspect of it, the dog behavior aspect, but Marianne came in with kind of the human brain, as I would call it, that can help with the operations part of it. She did such an amazing job with that. She chose to quit and by her own location, but she'll explain. Anyway, welcome to the Dish on Dogs, Marianne. It's always nice to see you. So let's fill in our listeners about, the whole theme I'd like to know, particularly for new franchisees that are wondering, sometimes we're called an emerging brand, like we just fell off the turnip truck and we just started doing this 2 or 3 or 4 years ago. So I'd like for them to explain your journey and how we got here today. So go ahead.
I really enjoyed working here. There were only 2 locations at the time. We had upgraded the Port Jeff location. I really did enjoy working here, but I wanted to work for myself more.
Right.
At that point.
Right.
Which is why I bought Port Jeff.
Okay. Right. So you came in and so when you say I enjoyed working here in the Hounds Town family, the business, why? You talk about your background a little. You came from...
related to nothing.
Related to nothing.
Absolutely nothing of what I was doing here.
Which is a good thing for franchisees to know, that you don't have to know about dogs, but you did come in with certain skill sets that allowed you to help me.
As far as marketing and getting your technology online and things like that, absolutely. All the dog stuff though, I learned here. I did not come in with really any working knowledge,
right?
Other than being a pet owner.
Right, which I think is personally a benefit, because now we didn't have to, at least I had that part down, the grouping of dogs and
exactly. I learned all of that here.
And back in the day, most of our competitors were breed discriminating, which meant they didn't allow.
Most of them still are.
They still are, but they say they don't. They just don't allow the dogs in. So they want to try to be politically correct by not breeding. That's very shady, Marianne. So we've never done that because we just know dogs are dogs. It doesn't matter if they're pit bulls, German shepherds, Dobermans, or poodles. We have the skill set, the ability, the science to put these dogs in safe packs where they can interact all day, which is our main claim to fame. Fully interactive daycare. For those folks that are listening that are not franchisees and you want to bring your dog to a place where it can really be a dog, not where they read books to them, not where we try to teach them tricks and harass them. They can come to any one of our locations, particularly if you live up in the North Shore in Suffolk County, Port Jeff. We do this amazing job at bringing dogs in, putting them in packs, and let them run around all day. Not just when you're boarding dogs. This is an activity just like your children, especially now more than ever. They need to interact with one another.
They need a break.
They need a break from humans.
Yeah, everybody needs a break because it's gotten to the point, I think, there are a lot of people who have been home for 5 months.
Right.
It's a lot of time and everybody's really starting to get on one another's nerves.
Right.
I have dogs that will come for daycare and they just go and sleep in a corner because they just need someone to stop talking to them and asking them how they are and how's their day, and the kids are poking at them, and I'm finding it's going a very long way for everybody's mental health.
No, that's
Get a nice little break.
No, that's a great way of putting it. I couldn't have said it better myself. So what we don't realize is you're at home harassing this is for the adults listening. You're harassing your children, you're harassing your spouses, and you're definitely harassing your dogs. Your dog needs an outlet for what they want to do, not what you want them to do. They want to come, as we say crudely, they can come hump, jump, and dump at Hounds Town. So that might sound crude to you, but that's what dogs want to do. And as Marianne just said, they come there, and you can almost see the dogs have almost a sigh of relief when they walk into our lobby. And the owners go their way, they do whatever crazy things humans do. And the dogs are as simple as they were when they were wolves, hundreds of thousands of years ago. They just sniff each other's private parts and they have a blast.
They go about their business.
They go about their business, literally go about their business without being screamed at.
Yeah.
All right, so you worked here, then you said to yourself, you had enough of me. You said, why am I working for this knucklehead? Which is really, really a good metaphor for people listening. Why are you why are you who are listening there, underappreciated, probably underpaid, working your ass off for somebody else when you can take control of your destiny? And I think that's what you were trying to politely say when you said you wanted to go out on your own. But it was basically fed up with my crazy nonsense. Talk about that.
If I was fed up with your crazy nonsense, I wouldn't be sitting here. This is crazy nonsense.
That's good point. That's a very good point.
It was really more. I just wanted to make more money. I mean, if you want to really get down to it, I wanted to make more money, and I think there is a lot of money to be made in this industry if you do it correctly. We're always hearing about our competitors having these horrendous situations and going under because they don't know what they're doing. If you know what you're doing, it's very lucrative. Even at the tail end of a pandemic, money is still there to be made.
Right. Excellent.
So I may as well make it.
Right. Before, during, and after the pandemic. And of truth, and those people listening, I think money is the bottom line, right? I like.
Nobody likes to say that. I mean, I'm sure everybody's like, I love dogs. I love dogs too, but I want to make money. Right. Okay, so and there's money to be made. And you're right, we know, through your help, I mean, this has been an evolving process, right? So some of the things that we implemented, however long ago that was, how long, 12, 14, whatever it was, we're using these same processes today, only we tweak them every day. Every day we're finding new products, but fundamentally, our franchise system is evolving, but dogs really haven't evolved, so they're the same exact thing. So where are you at now? We're at hopefully at the edge of this COVID, or the outside edge of this COVID-19. We've been on a stage, New York State. I mean, we started out as the lepers of the world. Right? Yeah.
We were the worst human beings in the world. Now that has transferred to different parts, south and west. So where are you now as a business? What are you feeling?
Things are going back on the upswing. Everything is still moving forward. I've always been moving forward through this whole thing. I mean, I flailed and I panicked, but I always kept going. I was not going to roll over and play dead for this or for anything. So, we're coming out of it now. Again, in New York, though, everything kind of goes back to what the governor says it can be open and not. And like our next challenge now are schools. Right. I have a lot of teachers who are very afraid of going back to work and what that means for them and their children. And so that's kind of where we're at. Right. I have a high population of teacher clients.
Right, and I think we all do. In fact, that's who kind of pre-COVID, that was our kind of targeted teachers and people in the educational field. That shifted now. We pivoted, obviously, just quite naturally into the healthcare professions. And that was just kind of an organic pivot that just made sense. Now, the healthcare people are working 12 hours a day like cops and firemen did during 9/11. Healthcare workers, and not only the nurses and doctors, but there's also all the essential services. Yeah. Janitors, can we call them janitors, custodians, custodial engineers.
Yes,
sanitation engineers. No, but literally kids that have been stocking our shelves, I give them a lot, I've always given them a lot of credit, I never distinguished them. But the most important thing you said, and talk about it for a little bit, was you never stopped. You flailed. We all did. We never took this lightly. But what makes a successful entrepreneur is that you flail and you fall down and you get up. And we as a franchise, you personally kept your foot on the gas, and us as a franchise system, we never ever stopped. We shifted a little bit here and there, but our foot is on the gas.
I think that's part of being an entrepreneur, though.
Exactly.
You have to be a little crazy. You know, like there just has to be just enough. Like most normal people probably would have just been like, all right, I'm going to close for 5 months and come out the other end of it, but not entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Well, you call it crazy. I call it, in our case, crazy. But for the people watching, it's passion. It's a certain passion that you're not going to get knocked down. And you know, that's a quality that can't be instilled in somebody.
No, you either have it or you don't. Right.
And you know, as again, there is frightening moments, and I would never want franchisees to think that they wake up and this is not playing with dogs, and there's a lot of moving parts. Explain what made you flail the most? What scares you the most?
Well, it had seemed the way that New York was going is that we were going to be at this bottom, you know, 4 dogs a day for like the foreseeable future. Right. And, you know, my business supports people's lives.
Right, thank
you. You know, these are not minimum wage, you know, workers living with mom and dad. I mean, these are fully fledged adults with bills and rent and all of that. So, you know, there's the burden of responsibility there also. You know, you want to make sure that everybody can live.
Right.
I'm very fortunate in that I had 2 key people that stuck with me the whole time. And we were able to just keep plugging along.
Right. And you have your own family to worry about. You have, I mean, obviously parents, you know, there's a lot, you have your kids, and there's a lot of moving parts to our personal lives. But giving failure, as they say, is really not an option. Your choice was to just shut down, and then I don't even know what it would look like then to rebuild what you started. Yeah. But thinking back, you know, again, we together actually, with your help, your guidance, we started franchising in about 2007. Yeah. So again, this is nothing new for us, but our timing was a little off.
Yeah.
Explain to that. So we started in 2007. We sought out the best franchise.
We changed the name. We got the trademark. Paid that attorney, I don't know how many thousands of dollars.
Too many, but
way too many. And it just stalled.
Because of the
housing crisis, or if there was something that was going on then that just nobody had the money to spend.
Right. So exactly. So what happened in 2007? We went through all the parts, and franchising was actually emerging, as we would say, and we jumped in at that time, not predicting that the housing crisis, the housing bubble, where it all crashed, and then everybody was disrupted.
Yeah.
And as we talked about before, individually our finances never changed. I mean, meaning our Hounds Town, our doggy daycares was always on the uptick.
Yeah.
But franchising, people got scared. They didn't have the money, and you know.
It was not a good time to start your own business.
Exactly. So that's exciting. And then now / here we are 3 or 4 years ago. We re-energized that whole thing. You're part of our corporate team that's going to go out and train and so.
And there've been new franchises started during this.
Oh yeah, we actually.
I mean, arguably, it's more viable now than it was when we tried in 2007.
Absolutely, and again, that's a very good point. So so we've been through a lot of things, right? 9/11, the housing market, Hurricane Sandy. We've been through almost every national upset that you can imagine. We always land on our feet, and now franchising. We're seeing it right now. I would have never believed this, but we do so many of these Zoom conferences, and we're taking in because people are readjusting their lives. Professionals are being laid off from different segments of society. We had many franchisees pre-COVID that were coming, and they were kind of investigating doggy daycare or fitness centers or fast food. So they came here with those 3 choices in mind. They narrowed us down as the premier pet care, but they also said, you know, a fitness center or this fast food space, and these were just really people, investors. They were actually entrepreneurs. Sadly, for many of them, they chose fitness, and they bought a franchise pet fitness center, and obviously franchise fitness centers are just out. I just drove by a retrofit. It's 9,000 square feet. It's not closed. It's for sale. So it's sad that's the reality. So the people that, my point is we're attracting people that understand that dogs particularly, they're on the rise. So you would have to think people aren't going to own dogs anymore for us to feel, or there's going to be robotic dog walkers. All right, so I'm going on. Jackie's rolling her eyes at me. That means I'm talking too much. So then you started your business, and we talked about right now there's a shift. We're trying to shift from boarding because people aren't traveling, but we need to the daycare. And I don't think people listening understand the value of daycare.
They do once they have a Zoom meeting without a dog butt in the frame.
Right.
And, they pick up a dog who is tired and well exercised and, isn't being nudgy all night long.
No, that's a good way of putting it. I don't know if it's a behavioral term, but let's go with the word nudgy. So if you have a dog that's nudgy, it's telling you it needs to needs something. It has to run around. And I think people, and even since we started this, it started out as a luxury, right? People were going to go play golf, or somebody was going shopping, and they dropped their dog off for a few hours. That was 20 years ago or 15 years ago. Now, it has become an absolute necessity, as you quite correctly said. Your new clients rely on you. They can't go to work for 12 hours if there's nobody to take care of their dog. And pet sitters, they don't provide the same service. You can come and everybody can find somebody for $20 to take their dog out for 10 minutes in the middle of the day and walk them. But it's not providing them with the dog needs. The needs of a dog is to interact in a pack and get dirty and smelly and tired and
go to luau's.
Go to luau's. We do have some kind of weird little events that we do. I'm not sure the dogs appreciate it as much as
they had a ball.
Do they really know a luau? Or is it the customers? I think it's the customers. But we'll save the anthropomorphism for another show. As Marianne said at the outset of this, she said, I finally got a brain. She's known me quite a while, and she was happy to see I finally
I'm very proud that
that I bring my brain wherever I go.
Definitely different. And like Mike said, it was always a luxury. We were always the last thing that people would think about, and we were forever the ones who got the last minute phone call. I don't have anywhere to bring my dog. I would say it was like that for probably the first 4 years I was here. It wasn't until people start, this is before even really social media, they start telling their friends, maybe your dog won't chew all the carpets in your house if it has somewhere to go during the day. And it definitely evolved from a luxury to a very basic need. Right. Their pet care became, more in the forefront of their monthly budgeting and things like that.
So from a business aspect, though, now you see franchisees, the newbies, we'll call them, the new townies, and we call them townies? I don't know what the hell we call them. We can call them that. But new people either already in, and they're stressing out right now about their future, and some of them are in every aspect of we have you on one end of the spectrum, and we have people that literally signed an agreement and they don't have a building or anything. So when you see the type of support, and this has been some level of, we need to understand that we have to support all our franchisees as best we can equally. So from where you came in, where you had to figure a lot of the things out yourself, marketing, do you put mats in diners? Do I advertise at the movie theater?
Oh my God, that's right. Or the gym.
Right, or newspapers, and you were kind of on your own to figure out should you join the Chamber of Commerce? What do you see from your perspective now, people coming into the system?
Well, they're given a blueprint on what to do to kind of get them up and running. It's always better to be handed, like a list of choices of things that have been proven to work. And, then you find out what works in your market and go from there. I mean, like those value packs. They never worked for me, but maybe down in Florida,
They may.
The marketing team has determined that those really, really work.
Right.
So that's part of, I think, the whole system that I think is important.
Yeah.
That new franchisees can see, okay, well, what did they do for here, and what do we do for here, and rather than throwing good money after bad.
Bad money, thank you. So you could waste a lot. Like I said, you could make a decision to advertise in a newspaper or make a television commercial. It could cost you a lot of money for no return on your investment. What I'm most impressed about actually, because I don't have a technical brain, I'm not on Facebook, I'm not on social media.
That's very smart.
That's smart, for
It's a
many
cesspool.
reasons, right. That's what I heard, it's a cesspool out there. For those of you franchisees that continue to go on Facebook and comment, it's a toxic environment that doesn't work. It's for business. Or I should say, it does work for business if you separate your personal stuff. It's a mistake. I tell it to people. And once you do something, and just send that button, that Facebook message, it could ruin your business, frankly, especially now in this charged political and social unrest. One wrong word is going to ruin you. Stay off of social media except for marketing.
Yeah.
But you're right. There's in certain markets there's some element of guerrilla marketing, whether you are involved with a lot of local groups within your community, or what do you call it, business to business groups. But what I find most fascinating is the data we collect. So our marketing team collects data, and they know so much, and they're on the cutting edge of everything that's happening. So whether it's Google, Facebook, whatever it is, they're on the cutting edge of it. It's not that they're always right, but they can examine numbers where it's right in front of your face. It's inarguable, right? If you spend this, you get this, and then not only, they have it down to really a statistical exact science. And I think that's the huge differentiator now. What we do on Facebook, what we do on social media is really, I think, is the thing that really pushed us into the future, because I see what the competitors do, and they don't have a presence like we do at all in any of these things. They do very cookie cutter, silly things, and this is very personal.
Oh, it's definitely personal.
And you have a family, like I like to say, a family of dog people. It's like a cult, right? So it's not just McDonald's. McDonald's doesn't have a cult of people. You have a family. So give some stories about that. I know some of them are crazy. But no. But like, it's gratifying to me personally when I see somebody just comment, thank God for.
Oh yeah.
That's what I meant. Hounds Town, Port Jeff. If it wasn't for them or this.
I have a core group of clients that stuck with me that entire time. If I was open, they brought those dogs, and it's actually, it really is amazing. And I have all of their names and stuff because I keep thinking I want to buy them a present or something.
Right.
But it's unbelievable. And the amount of support that I had gotten to stay in business was completely overwhelming.
Right.
And it's, you never expect that. I don't ever expect anybody to really, be that personally invested in my business. It's my business.
Right.
But they were, and a lot of them, I had offers for people who were going to pay for daycare even though they weren't bringing their dogs.
Yeah, that's crazy.
More than once.
Yeah.
Like more than one person had offered that just to keep me afloat.
Right.
Which I think is amazing.
No, it's very gratifying, and I think what we forget sometimes, us forget, this is a very emotional business.
Yeah.
We're not a hardware store. We're taking care of people's family members that arguably they love more than their own families, their dogs. So we're doing this for them, and they want us to survive. Fortunately, I think for all of us, I can say that for us, that we didn't need that kind of support because we were able to work our way through it financially. But the gestures are really touching. It's pretty amazing, like I said, and I think that that's something that never ceases to amaze me. Once in a while, if we get like a bad review online about somebody's dog smelled because it was, and then our customers, we don't have to do anything. Our customers will jump all over those people and say, how ignorant can you be? It's raining out, it's snowing out, the dog played with 30 other dogs, it's going to smell. And then you see that post go away because of our customers. And I consider them a dysfunctional family, as I consider you, and I consider the future franchisees, that we're part of a family that interact. We're all connected, and we all have our best, we're invested or vested in your financial success, the success. So it's not, and that is another important point, and I'm going to end this segment by saying that this is, franchising is different. We're a business relationship that in your case lasted 10 years now. We're on the downswing of your first agreement.
Right, yeah.
But we've never sold anything. We've always been connected.
Yeah.
And that's really the important part of franchising, that your success is our success and vice versa. The corporate success is your success. Anything else you'd like to impart? You want to say anything, words of wisdom to anybody, the family, anybody? I don't know.
I'll be doing this forever.
Okay, good. All right. Well,
Why?
For a number of reasons. I really enjoy working with dogs. That was probably one of the biggest takeaways from the whole COVID thing, is that it got me back in the playrooms and it got me back actually working to why I wanted to buy the business to begin with. So I don't really ever see my life not having that.
right, but to Jackie's point, here you are in 12 months or so, you have the option of going off and doing something else, a different franchise, a different business, or just retiring. So when you say that, that's a powerful statement. And this is good for franchisees to know where to be. Why? What? You've been through all the ups and
It
downs,
just becomes part of who you are.
your identity.
Yeah, very much. And I wear a lot of different hats, but I mean,
We'll
this
talk
was
about
always...
that a little bit, like what different hats, because that's important.
I'm a mother.
Right.
I have a husband. I have a dog of my own. I mean, I have outside activities that I like to do out of work. But it's always interesting when you get one of these high dramatic situations like a worldwide pandemic that makes you realize how important something is.
Right.
And the idea of not having that business, I was not going to have it. That was just not going to happen.
No, that should be inspiring to people. It's inspiring for me to hear that. And that I think people forget. We're not, this is not our lives. I have grandchildren.
Right.
We have all kinds of responsibilities in life. And this is obviously the major part of it. But I think that's important to know. We have a franchisee in Sanford, Florida, Sean and Paige. Life throws you curveballs. She had a baby. Their plan was Sean was going to work in his job and Paige was going to operate the doggy daycare. She had a baby 2 months ago in the middle of this COVID-19. But I'm saying the way people adapt to curveballs in life, that was obviously welcomed, but they weren't planning it.
Not ideal.
That wasn't, the timing was a little off. So 2 months before their grand opening, they have this little bambino come in the world, and she has not skipped a beat. And from my perspective as the franchisor, when I see what she's doing, going to work at 7 o'clock in the morning, she's got a 2-month-old at home, and she's running the business primarily by herself. She knows how to staff it, so it's really impressive. All right, you're looking at your watch. That means it's time for me to shut up.
That's a good cue.
Really, I got a text. That's really all it was.
Start to yawn. I'm used to those social cues. I do that to my company when they're at my house and they don't always get it. Listen.
It's the 4-hour rule.
The 4-hour rule. Yep, she knows better than anybody. The 4-hour rule.
There's some words to live by.
The Dish on Dogs, all about dogs. Join us every week. And I want to thank Marianne for joining us, and she's probably going to do another episode and talk about more things, dog-related, franchising related. But again, thanks for joining us. The Dish on Dogs podcast, how do you see it? YouTube,
It's on a VH.
Instagram, your cell phone,
Jackie's going to send you the
podcast.
8mm
He
reel.
wishes it was on a VH shape. It would make it easier for him to watch.
Right. Okay, folks, thank you. Listening to The Dish on Dogs. See you next week.